Sup flappers, welcome back to another video. So with today's video, we want to touch on, I feel like some of these characters, we don't talk about them as much anymore, especially with how many 5-star characters that are coming out. We cannot forget about our 4-star counterparts because this game is composed of 4-man squads, and let me tell you, almost all the time you will have a 4-star character here or there in your team squad, if not more than one. And just because they're 4-star, don't confuse them with being inferior. Oftentimes we see these 5-star characters as premium options compared to the 4-stars, but let me tell you, a 4-star characters with a couple constellation can easily surpass certain 5-stars. The great example that we can always point to is Mr. Bennett himself, that if you have Bennett at C1, he immediately outperforms and outvalues most 5-star currently in the game. But of course, Bennett is a very extreme case where he is a very particular unit that does one thing. Now, I wouldn't be overstepping any boundaries by saying that Bennett is currently extremely meta. If you have him in your team, he fits almost perfectly. So today I want to talk a little bit about maybe potential meta shifts or meta changes and how people's perception of 4-star characters have changed, the pros and cons of certain characters, and how some characters kind of just had a bad luck of the draw when it comes to their performance and usage. All right, with that said, like, subscribe, you guys know how to do it, and let's get right into the video. Now, the first two characters I do want to highlight are Fischl and Beidou. Now, these two characters are Electro. We all know that currently Electro characters are kind of suffering from the fact that their reactions are slightly weaker and inferior comparatively to Pyro, Hydro, Cryo, just every other element. And while they themselves have garnered strong teams and potentials in playstyle, it's actually recently, especially with the release of Yoimiya, that I've actually gone back and reincorporated Fischl into a lot of my teams. And this is what I'm talking about. These 4-star characters oftentimes will sit around and wait until a certain new character, it could be a 4-star, but most of the time 5-stars that engage them into their playstyle that can reignite them back into the meta. This is not to say Beidou and Fischl were bad in the meta or not in the meta. They were very popular characters. It's just most people did not give them a chance simply because they just didn't have characters that can amplify their usefulness. And now Yoimiya has come around and I find myself playing Beidou, playing Fischl a lot, almost in every one of my Yoimiya iterations. I just enjoy the overload, right? However, we also have certain characters like Zhenyan since the release of her all the way back, I believe it was last year. I think she came around the same time Diona did. Now, Zhenyan and Diona are two characters of polar opposites. While Diona has shot way up into the stratosphere and into outer space when it comes to popularity in team compositions, Zhenyan kind of fell down into obscurity. Now, it's hard to say in the future if a character can come along and rekindle this character's potential, but I think a lot of these characters that don't do very well suffers from identity crisis. Like, do you use Zhenyan as an offensive character, as a defensive character? Even if you want to use her as either, you would require certain constellations or you would require more resources for her than you would for other characters, such as, let's say, Diona, to make full use of her. Now, of course, we have to highlight the star of the current banner, Saiyu. Again, another new character that has come out, which just proves that 4-star characters can be of a caliber that is similar to 5-stars. Now, if you guys don't know what Saiyu does, she is incredible. She offers new ways to play the game and infuse elements, and even play around with the concept of infusion and interaction with the environment. It is so much fun playing Saiyu, and I think that Saiyu is definitely going to be a huge hit within people's rosters going forward as a 4-star option in the Anemo category. I do think that Saiyu in a way is able to even rival someone like Diona, but in the Anemo category. They kind of play differently, whereas Diona has a shield, more defensive. Saiyu is definitely more offensive focused and is more of a hybrid and switches between both with her burst skill. It's absolutely great to see 4-star characters like Saiyu to come out. And moving back into some of the older characters now, I think someone like Kaya is really starting to drop lower in in the ranks when people are considering using 4-star options. Although he is a strong character, I think the problem with Kaya and all these free-to-play characters is that the difficulty in obtaining their constellations make them very hard to outperform other potential characters, such as, let's say somebody's pulling on a banner with a Sucrose and you end up somehow getting 4 copies of her and straight up getting her to a C4 Sucrose. Well, now you're kind of like, well, you can replace essentially any one of these characters if that were to be the case, right? Same with someone like Amber. If you have somebody like Xiangling, you got a couple copies of Xiangling, even if 1 copy, 2 copy, immediately Amber starts to not get any field time unless she is somehow your waifu. What I'm saying essentially is that these 4-star characters currently exist within a meta where it's shaped by 5 stars, but using 4 stars essentially as support characters. Characters such as Razor have also fallen far down the ladder. I think back when the game just started, he was regarded as one of the premier top carries, along with Diluc, right? He's like the 4-star option. Diluc was 5-star number 1 DPS, and Razor was one of the top 4 stars along with Ningguang, but both of these characters have fallen down, especially with the release of Ganyu, Hu Tao, Ayaka, right, Kazuha. You just start seeing less and less of these 4 stars. And I do think that we're about to be in the presence of an Electro-based meta. It just makes sense with 2 Electro characters coming in the next patch. Fischl, Beidou, maybe even Keqing likely will get benefits in the Abyss along with Bao's release. Of course, Razor, Lisa may even see more playtime going forward. And this is the thing about Genshin Impact, right? We keep thinking of it like a gacha game, but if you really play through it to the late game and you want to take advantage of every single iteration of the Abyss, having more character of course helps, but it doesn't help in the sense that you can beat it with your eyes closed. You have to understand synergy. You have to understand the pros and cons, the mechanics of the late game combat system, right? How does miHoYo tweak the Abyss to favor certain character over other characters? It's essentially the same as if you're playing League of Legends, Dota, if you're playing any BR game, right? Valorant, if you guys play those kind of games, there are metas with agent changes, but because miHoYo cannot change the quote-unquote agents or champions or characters, whatever you want to call it, but miHoYo can make changes to the current endgame, which is the Abyss. So essentially, it is the same. Different characters will have strengths and weaknesses. But one of my main concerns is that these free-to-play characters are essentially slowly being replaced, right? Amber pretty much is gone because of Yoimiya. We have Kaya, which I mean, the number of cryo characters, right? We got Chongyun, we got Rosaria, we got Ayaka, we got Ganyu. Like, it's hard to fit Kaya into team comps when you have all these other options, which potentially even have constellations for some of them, like Chongyun and Rosaria. Characters like Lisa have always been slightly questionable from the get-go, and with the about to be released Electro Archon and Sarah, I struggle to think Lisa is gonna stay in the team comps of most people for much longer as well. I would love to see these free-to-play characters maybe find some way to re-enter the meta, but like I said, with miHoYo constantly changing the Abyss and the release of newer characters, it's just gonna get worse and worse. Characters are gonna become more diluted, and eventually people might just give up on certain characters altogether. Now, one of the ways miHoYo can fix this issue is bringing in a 3rd team from the Abyss, but that is a completely different topic for another video. The reason I'm making this video today is that I'm telling you guys these 4-star characters are being reshaped in the meta as we speak. 4-star characters like Saiyu, like Diona, right, Xingqiu, Bennett, they are calibers above the rest. But just like Enviosity can prove, all these characters are still viable if you guys put in the effort and time to learn them. But trust me, nobody has the amount of time to really invest into a game like this. Very few people do. So at the end of the day, who do you prioritize right now as a 4-star? Do you still prefer 4 stars because of their aesthetics and playstyle, or do you have them fit integral parts of specific teams which you need to clear certain content? How often do you guys look at 4 stars, and how often do you guys prioritize them on banners, right? Do you guys chase after constellations for 4 stars, or do you guys simply pull them as one copy for collection, right? Because really, I find that 5-star characters have already been pretty solidified over the past few releases, but 4-star characters has great discrepancies when it comes to their power level and usefulness. Going forward, I don't know what miHoYo is going to do when it comes to these 4-star characters and how miHoYo focuses around them and the meta, or they're just going to be afterthoughts for a lot of banners. Now, that is some food for thought for all of you guys. With that said, thank you guys for watching, and I'm going to see you guys in tomorrow's video. Remember to tune into my Friday live stream for the patch 2.1 translation watch party. All right, until then, stay safe and peace.